In this video, I'll be showing you exactly how to level from 1 to 85 using powerful exploits in Mists of Pandaria Classic. You will be able to co-opt entire armies to do your leveling for you, one-shot glitched mobs, and manipulate game mechanics to produce endless spawns of easily killed NPCs. Hello and welcome to Archvaldor's Hacks with Archvaldor and his amazing hacks. This is the Mists of Pandaria Classic Leveling Exploit Guide. This is an exploit guide, not a basic leveling guide. TLDR, basic leveling in Mists of Pandaria is just this. Do dungeons with quests as your first option, quest indent zones packed with quests as your second option, dungeons without quests are your third option. Kill rares if you come across them, you get a lot of experience for them. From level 1 to 10, mob grinding is generally considered optimal. There are some ways to speed this up. In the Torrent starting zone, you get this quest early on to kill these boars, which gives you a quest item that can one-shot them. The Blood Elf starting zone has this quest early on, which instantly spawns these undead mobs. Abandon this quest without turning it in and restart it, and the mobs spawn again. This allows for some very fast mob grinding and experience. This is very desirable early on as you can't ride and it takes ages to move between quests. Humans can kill this rare, then go straight to Elwyn Forest and farm Murlocs using this route. You want to be heading for Crystal Lake, which is a fast respawn point for Murlocs. If you have no heirlooms, you may wish to do a few quests first to make yourself strong enough to take on multiple enemies. Also, if you get into trouble, you can use some old school terrain exploits to get out of combat. At this point, Horde characters should head to Silverpine Forest and Forsaken Command. For some races, it may take a while to get here. Begin the Silverpine Forest quest chain. Complete all the quests up to Lost in the Darkness. This quest allows you to create a quite literal army of orcs to fight for you. There's two methods you can use here to glitch this quest out. You can just free 6 orcs, abandon the quest, and return to the quest giver. Take it again and repeat. You can also use a second account or a friend to group with you online, then convert it to a raid. This way you don't have to keep going back to the quest giver. The orcs will last 10 minutes after you free them before you vanish. Now, this is an awful lot of fun and you can instant kill everything in the area, including some rares which spawn here. The only problem is that as you level up, XP for grinding purposes becomes less efficient and your army is so powerful there just isn't enough stuff to kill. If we continue down the Forsaken quest chain into Gilneas, we get to this quest, which gives us 2 powerful NPCs who will fight for us, the Valkyr Agatha and Deathstalker Commander Belmont. These NPCs are designed for use only in a specific area against elite mobs that do not award experience. If you leave the zone, they vanish. However, if we leave Gilneas by the main gate, we can use a powerful method to glitch them out of the zone and take them anywhere. Simply move in and out of the zone and attempt to time it so that they spawn just as you are moving through the boundary between the zones. The idea is that the code to spawn begins to activate on the Gilneas side, but then concludes when you are back in Silverpine Forest. If the NPCs spawn outside their intended area, the code to despawn them isn't activated. This means you can now take them anywhere. You can take these NPCs anywhere and they will enable you to quest significantly faster than you could otherwise by increasing your damage per second, but also taking aggro from mobs. Strong as these NPCs are, they are not actually the strongest you can obtain. There's an even better option. So let's progress further along the Forsaken quest chain till we come to the conclusion of this quest, Transdimensional Warfare 3. At this point we gain the Lords Walden, Godfrey and the Baron Ashbury as Guardians. These are extremely powerful quest NPCs who will fight for us, and are gifted with a range of dark and lethal abilities, and can kill more or less anything whilst being virtually indestructible. Again, these NPCs were designed only for use in a relatively small specific area and vanish if you leave that area. But as before, if we go to the edge of the boundary, this time between Silverpine Forest and Hillsbrad Foothills, we can glitch them out of this area by using the same trick I just showed you. Move in and out of the boundary of this zone and try and time it so that the mobs spawn outside of their intended zone. It will probably take you more than a few tries. Powerful as these mobs are, we can do even better. Now, to get an amazing 5 NPCs to fight for you, go to Taran Mill and complete this quest here, and follow the quest line up to this quest where you get the NPCs Johnny Awesome and Apothecary Leiden as quest pets. You glitch these NPCs out of the zone using the same method we've just shown. This zone glitching won't work the first time you try it. It takes some practice and a little luck. Now, you can take these guys anywhere. Any quest NPCs you can glitch do not survive through a port or a taxi or your death, but otherwise it is basically like having your own dungeon group to complete quests for you. The options at lower level for Alliance are not quite as good as they are for Horde, but there are some very powerful exploits here. In addition to being a fast and efficient questing zone with lots of rares, the main questline gives you access to Bravo Zero Company. These are multiple quest guardians who will fight for you. They have a Rambo-based theme. There are 2 ways to access them. The first one involves questing through the main Redridge chain till you get to the quest Breaking Out is Hard to Do, which will give you the NPC quest guardian Mesner. He himself will lead you to further NPC quests and MP quest guardians that form most of Bravo Zero Company. You will be given a quest, Return of the Bravo Company, to complete. You can simply not do that and keep the NPC quest guardians. You can do all the side quests and or grind mobs with them. This is very similar to questing with a group of players, and is significantly faster than questing alone. There is, however, an even better option further down the quest chain. If you complete the main quest chain up to the penultimate quest, Showdown at Stonewatch, this gives you full access to Bravo Zero Company. They acquire weapons, and notably the main NPC John J. Keishan, who is the most powerful member of the group. They also give you a range of overpowered buffs, including a stamina buff, which scales badly at low level, making your character almost invincible, as well as a buff which reduces pushback while casting significantly. These NPCs are meant to be used against the powerful Orc elites at the end of the quest chain, but they can be taken anywhere in Redridge, and can clear out entire zones very quickly. There is a downside, however. By the time you've completed the quest chain, especially with full heirlooms, you will have mostly out-leveled Redridge, so there is increasingly little to kill and gain experience as you level up, which will happen very fast. So you may wish to stop the main quest line at the return of Bravo Zero Company, despite the DPS loss from using the weaker version of Bravo Zero Company. Now, back in the day, the fastest way to level up in WoW was to use a high-level NPC on your account to kill mobs in dungeons, while the character you wanted to level gained buckets of experience. This is no longer possible. Blizzard heavily nerfed the amount of experience a low-level character in a group with a high-level character is awarded. However, you can do other things with a high-level character on your account, or a high-level friend. You can simplify a dungeon by having the high-level character thin out mobs, allowing low-level players to complete quests more easily, or grind mobs. And there's a special trick you can use in Scarlet Monastery, which is worth going into some detail here. This ingenious trick was first shown to me by Laptop Menace in a later version of the game, but it can also be used in Mists of Pandaria Classic with some tweaks. These bone mounts produce multiple zombies which are extremely weak for dungeon mobs, but award full experience. The Bone Mounds are surrounded by stronger Scarlet mobs. These are tough for a solo player to kill, but a high level player can one-shot them. So have a high level player clear out the Scarlet mobs around the mounds, but leave them active and creating zombies. Now send in your leveling character and you will find that they can kill these endlessly respawning low health zombies for super fast experience. Even my mage here, mages are the most squishy class in the game, can AoE down these zombies in bulk quite easily at the appropriate level. Note that even at level 24, the minimum level for a character to enter the Scarlet Graveyard, my mage can kill individual zombies, and a few levels later it becomes increasingly easy even without looms. You can quite easily get 10 levels this way. This quest in Duskwood, Soothing Spirits, gives you a quest item which one-shots mobs. If you do 30 to 40% damage to a mob yourself and then use the item, it will give you full experience. This is quite a good option if you don't have heirlooms or decent gear. Now, Alliance should head to the Western Plaguelands and begin the main Andorral quest chain till they reach this quest, Combat Training. This will give you 4 farmer NPCs to fight for you. The quest location is rich in hostile NPCs, so you can just stay here and grind mobs for perfectly acceptable experience, given that you never run out of mobs to kill, and your farmer army does most of the killing. Note that if you stay in this location, you can queue for dungeons at the same time, and your farmer army will be accessible the second you teleport out of the dungeon. And when you go away for a few minutes, all the mobs respawn, making for faster experience when you do actually return to the zone. But you can also, if you prefer, take the farmers out of the zone using the inching in and out of the zone method, and then go and complete side quests and or kill rares. You can even take them into the Eastern Plaguelands, they won't despawn. In theory, you can keep doing these quests with the army till you are ready to enter Outland at 58 or even later. There is a close equivalent for Horde, also called, imaginatively enough, Combat Training. In this quest you also acquire an army of 4 farmers to fight for you, but this time they are initially raised from the dead by a Valkyr quest pet, provided for this purpose. Now, you could just stay in the relevant quest location and kill mobs, but these aren't as dense or accessible as in the equivalent Alliance location. So let's glitch the mobs out of the area altogether. I'm going to use a fundamentally different method from the one I've been showing up to this point. Regular viewers of this channel might remember that originally you could do this by raising 4 farmers from the dead and then cancelling the Valkyr buff. They would then follow you outside the zone. Blizzard put a stop to this by making it impossible to cancel the Valkyr buff. However, it took me all of 30 seconds to find another way to glitch the mobs out. You just leave the Valkyr on one side of the farm using the stay command on the pet action bar and move out of the area on the other side, as I'm showing here. Having glitched the mobs out of the area, you can take them anywhere in the Eastern or Western Plaguelands and level up however you please. Neither the Alliance nor the Horde farmers will survive a port or taxi. Now, the Valkyr you get from the Horde quest actually follows you into a dungeon. There's no special trick here, you just summon her, enter the dungeon, and she follows you. She's stuck at 34, at which level she does a quite decent amount of additional DPS, but becomes less useful as you level up. If you take her into a dungeon, make sure you set her on defensive mode, or she'll pull everything and get everyone killed. I'm sure there's a sexist joke in there somewhere. If you have a priest or mage, there's a fun alternative leveling option in the mid-30s. Here in Dustwallow Marsh in Kalimdor, these dragonkin mobs have a fire shield ability, which can be spell stolen and or cast on a player with mind control. Note that priests can get this shield cast not only on themselves, but any group members they may be running with. This gives you an AoE fire pulse and with enough of the shields it makes for a very significant increase in DPS and leveling speed. Now, both factions can use the following approach in the Forties. If you go to Tanarus and pick up this quest outside the Thunderdome, you'll find the elite NPC that spawns is quite easy to kill, but gives you a lot of experience. This quest can be repeatedly dropped and retaken, allowing you to grind experience very efficiently by killing the NPC over and over again. Now, this one has been fixed on retail for some time, and quite likely will again after this video is published, so do this one fast if you're going to. Now, just a quick aside here, the expert speed leveler Haldan recommends running Detention Block in Blackrock Depths in the 40s and 50s. This requires a little explanation. Blackrock Depths is a huge sprawling dungeon that was originally endgame content in vanilla. Now it is just part of the leveling process, and for that reason dungeon completion awards are given for running relatively small parts of the original dungeon, in theory making it more efficient. It is kind of an unintentional exploit. So, I was going to recommend this as another option in the 40s and 50s, and if you're running with guildmates or any competent group, it certainly is that. However, what with bugs being pugs, when I tried this twice, the group members all wandered off in different directions, while the tank did his best to line of sight my healing at every opportunity. I somehow managed to just get through this run, but even then I died in the process. I'm not criticising Haldan's suggestion here, I just thought the difference between the ideal scenario for an expert speedrunner and the actuality of dungeons in Modern WoW was so comical it was worth mentioning. As you approach level 60, it is time to go to Outland. There are not that many exploits you can use for leveling purposes here, and most are not much faster than dungeons or basic questing. For this reason, I would leave going to Outland as late as possible, and maybe do the pet battle option I'll mention at the end to minimise your time going from 58 to 68. There is one notable exception to the rule when you get to level 67, however, in Shadowmoon Valley. The quest Harbingers of Shadowmoon is available to Alliance at Wildhammer Fortress, and there's an identical quest for Horde called Spectracles at Shadowmoon Village. You'll need to complete one quest to get the quest you want. For Alliance, this is called Ghost in the Machine, and for Horde, it is called Haunted History. I made a detailed guide for this quest way back in TBC Classic, which I'll link to below. It works exactly the same way in Mists of Pandaria Classic. This quest is so good for leveling because it gives you access to a huge number of mobs which are phased. Other players can't see them. They are neutral. They don't aggro you unless you attack them directly, and some of the mobs actually spawn inside the inn of the respective factions, which means that you earn bonus related experience on top of regular experience for killing them. Combined with dungeon leveling, this is a much better option than Burning Crusade's famously slow and clunky questing. Now, when we get to Northrend at 68, there are some fairly obvious but effective grinding spots. This location outside of Valgard, where NPCs spawned endlessly, is very easy to farm. My rogue can teleport to and one-shot these mobs very easily for super quick experience. There's a big exploit here in Wintergrasp at the Step of Life. That's really interesting if you love weird old game mechanics. When you sit down in Warcraft, any attack that hits you is a critical strike. This is a relic of the older vanilla style gameplay where roleplay considerations were an integral part of the game. The flower mobs here in Wintergrasp rest very much like ordinary flowers in the real world before jumping up to attack you anthropomorphically when aggroed. This animation was achieved by making the flowers sit down, which means that every initial attack against them is a critical strike. This makes them much easier to kill, especially for classes with some kind of mega attack. To show how powerful this is, my rogue can one-shot the mobs from 25 yards away using cloak and dagger, even though she's a massive 6 levels below the hostile mobs. The only problem with this is that more powerful classes and characters will tend to clear out the area pretty fast, so it is a good idea to run dungeons at the same time, as when you come back from the dungeon the zone will have repopulated. Now at 80 we can head into Cataclysm content. There's a number of very fast respawning areas, but the fastest I found is on the Vashir quest chain. Note that the time-consuming Vashir intro can be bypassed simply by entering the portal in Mists of Pandaria Classic. Also, don't forget to update your gear from this very handily placed vendor if you need to. Proceed through the main Vashir quest chain. The quest you want is about 20 quests in. When you complete the Looming Threat quest, the cave you are in will fill with aggressive Naga. These mobs spawn very fast, and they would normally overwhelm a solo player, but crucially this quest also has a number of friendly NPCs who will fight the mobs with you. It takes a few minutes practice to get this right. You'll need to DPS the mobs down by around 40% of their health, but having done that initial damage, you can let your NPC helpers finish them off for you. I found this quest extremely effective for 81 to 85, combined with dungeon running. Now, if you get stuck during your journey, having completed all the quests in dungeons at your level and having no usable exploits to hand, I'd consider doing some pet battles to fill in, as these can be done at any level and award good experience. Now, I've never seen this mentioned anywhere. Pet battles in the wild are a decent if unspectacular source of experience, but when you combine them with some of the pet battle quests, it gets really good because you get the basic experience from winning a pet battle with an additional quest reward. You can start the pet battle quest chain in your faction capital. I'd recommend leveling 3 pets up to at least level 10 first. Then you get this really easy quest chain where you just have to win a relatively easy series of battles. It is very fast experience. Now, if you find exploits like these fascinating, you can find exploits I cannot talk about publicly on my super secret Patreon. There I post things which would get fixed instantly if I talked about them publicly. For example, there is an unlimited critical strike buff you can get from a quest in the 30s. It allows you to do insane DPS, but I know Blizzard can hotfix that one like a shot if they found out about it, so I can't put it in the video. But it is there on my Patreon. Mists of Pandaria is likely to continue to produce a lot of exploits. It certainly did the first time round. The best may be yet to come, and you won't want to miss out. We'd love to have you. Thanks for watching. This has been Archvaldor.